Kaka mi je frizurica?
Dobro.
Are we live?
And you can talk.
And hello everyone, Sasha is here. Welcome to another Thursday. We are going today we are going to explore this week topic that was talking about how important the length of the nails are to the overall well-being of the dog. And just quick like a throwback in my career was 2004 when I was landing in order for one of my clients to find a new show dog. So I landed into one of the most prestigious dog breeding kennels in the world in Japan. Smash kennel of the toy poodles, Mr. Toshi Omura. Later become my very big inspiration and mentor, and that's something that I really I'm very thankful for, because this ancient Japanese breeding secret that was taken through one mentor to the other was just revealed to me, and it changed my way of understanding the dog balance, dogs well-being out from completely different angle. So I was very excited to go there, and we negotiated for a long time, and finally I went in his kennel. That was his home. He was living in that kennel. That's kind of like a lifestyle in Japan, that you are connected and one with the dogs you breed, and like 24/7. Whenever you wake up, there is someone working with the dogs, usually him and his assistants and things like that. But what struck me was the soundness of the dog's body. And whenever you touch, even those were the poodles, so they had a different trims, some of the retired pet trims, show trims, things like that. But what you was able to see of those dogs moving around is a soundness. And whichever dog you touch, everything was so packed, like they were like packed with the muscles, and such an enormous, amazing bodies were developed under those coats, that I was kind of thinking about what a breeding program, what a mind, what a precise way of putting together such a wonderful dogs. No bet that he bred some of the world top and world famous dogs. That I was just stunned about. So, and then I asked him, like, how can you make them look so perfectly conditioned? Like, everything was so perfect. He smiled to me and he said, like, the genetic and the breeding program can take the dogs until the certain point, but after that, the nutrition, the overall well-being and the mind of the dog, like a dog should live in very precise, mindful environment, so it doesn't get stressed. And of course, the coat care. But the most important thing that will bring you such a soundness, and once the genetic is present, the soundness of the dog, and such a muscle build on the dog, would be appropriate length of the nails. I was just like, what? He said appropriate length of the nails. If you don't hear your dog walking on the surfaces and clicking, you know that the dog is walking on a pads. And by using a pads for the balance, that's actually supposed to be, and that balance is not ruined. The biomechanical model of the dog is not ruined by the nails pushing the pads backward and ruining entire biomechanical model and the balance of the dog. You'll get this as an outcome of the proper use of the biomechanical model and the proper use of the already genetically developed structure. But if your nails are long, then what happens is that the nails are pushing the pads backward, and then these pasterns are actually laying back. That starts ruining the biomechanical model, forcing muscles to attach and detach and strengthen and loosens differently. So instead of having a complete body that's compact and pushed together and pulled together, you get this picture that's actually oftentimes can develop a fails hip dysplasia, a fails pattern problems with the hocks, with the patterns and everything, with the patellas, and all the things can be messed up by only having a long nails. And he told me that that's a secret he learned from his mentor, and it's something that was so known, well developed Japanese, not hidden secret, obviously, because he shared it with me. I don't know, did he share it by mistake or he shared it because whatever he shared, but I really started to incorporate that in my clients' dogs, and a tremendous change and shift happened almost overnight. And the dogs were moving much freely. The dogs were able to kind of utilize, and in just a couple of weeks, you see this overall well-being and the structure, substance of the dog changed. The way you touch the dog and you see muscle develop differently changed. And in order for us to understand, I'm going to walk you today through the proper biomechanical model, just in a couple of most important points, and then I'm gonna show you if the nails are too long, how that's gonna affect the biomechanical model of the dog, and how a lot of outcomes of the long nails can down the road be seen as a genetic problems, because like how do you get a hip dysplasia in the toy breeds? How do you get a hock problem? How do you get a patella problems? Some of them are problem of the, lately studies are showing that kind of like, how can I say that, early spaying and neutering can bring the testosterone and estrogen impacting the growth hormone. Then the bones doesn't develop properly. All of that is cut in half. The development is like a never ending story. And then all of those kind of cancers that might develop from that have something to do with, for example, there is a golden retriever study that shows that osteosarcoma would be one of the great cancers that is now linked directly to the early spaying and neutering of the dogs, because the growth hormone wouldn't get a signal from the testosterone and estrogen because they're pulled out from the body in the system. And now all of that might be impact of the spaying and neutering on one hand, and on the other hand can be an impact of such a small thing like a length of the nails. So let's observe. So this is a dog. I used the drawing of my late mentor, Dr. Eugene Yerusalimsky, that was actually developed after almost 65 years of hard studies. 6,000 dogs were evaluated, and biomechanical model and the harmony in dog structure is found out from that study. A little more about this you can find on my links that I'm gonna post around this social media, where this is live going on Facebook and on YouTube, and then you can find out the programs that we have. That we kind of like take this knowledge of the biomechanical model and harmony of the dog structure and then share it with the world. So you're going to find a way to enroll in those programs if you want to dive in deeper into understanding the principles I just going to talk about. So the first of all, dog's body in general is very moderately built. So moderate. When you look at the entire picture of this dog, you would say nothing sticks out. Everything is just okay. And then just okay things put together are making this beautiful and sound animal that kind of like flows through the space and time without any kind of like problems and difficulties. Once we start adding aha moments to the overdoing something, So the moment we do overangulation, we're gonna lose the front. The moment we're gonna do an extended long neck, we're gonna lose the loin. So when you start looking pieces of the dogs that gonna stick out from the wow, you know that somewhere else, something else need to pay the price for that. So usually when you look at the dogs and in their soundness, you're gonna look them and say, oh, moderate angulation, moderate chest, moderate here, moderate there. And when you put all of that moderate together, you get a perfect sound dog, healthy dog, right? And every single breed standard is trying just to explain that, how to reach that purity in soundness so the health can be an outcome of such an build. So what's very important to understand is a couple of principles. So the dog body is built on a skeleton. So we're gonna focus here on a skeleton of the dog as a foundation of the biomechanical model of the dog. So the skeleton of the dog is combined with a forehead, like a front. We have a scapula, we have a humerus, we have a ulnar radius, and then we have a pastern and the toes. And on the back we have a pelvis, we have a humerus, we have ulnar tibia, and then we have a rear pastern and the foot. Okay, so the tibia and fibula, I'm sorry, front in. So here we have a tibia and fibula, and we have in front we have ulnar radius. So what's important here to know? So biomechanical model calls for some balance and symmetry. So for example, one of the principles would be the point of shoulder and point of rump in line. Then the point of elbow and knee in line. That the highest point of the withers, like a tip of the shoulder blade, and the elbow in line. That like a beginning of the sacrum, and this how you say this one, the knee in line. And all of this is bringing the dog's body be moderately and perfectly eligible to less energy used in order to perform everything, like either to perform moving or standing or running or whatever. The soundness of the dog's body is made up from the less use of energy while performing any task, because that would be the most important thing. Then the next very important part, actually the first principle of the biomechanical model that we might that you might learn about, would be top line formula. So the top line is a line. So that's very important when you ask people like, oh, where is the back from going? What's the top? What's the difference between back and the top line? And all kind of those misunderstanding of the informations are actually something that might give us a problem and troubling in interpreting what's actually standard refers to. So the very important thing, and Dr. Jerusalimsky always come to say that's importantly, and then the other part would be also here, we have a line of the, like a point of rump goes down to a front feet. So you see all of these important parts. I can maybe use some other chalks here, like let's say this one, and then this one, and then this one. So what are the lines? Like point of shoulder, point of rump, and the paw. Then we have the hip, let's say, from this one, and the knee. And then here we have a point of shoulder and point of shoulder and the elbow. And on the other side, on the other distance, we have like the ones that are holding dogs in a perfect balance. It would be the point of rump, point of shoulder and point of rump, as well elbow to a knee. So these points are very important for the dog's body. And if the nails are enough short, the dog can rest on its paws, so on the pads, right? The dog rests on a pad. And oftentimes, if you pull up the pads of your dog, you will be able to see the imprints on the pads, how the dog is actually maybe trying to use pads as a balance to overcome any problems that might have genetically inside its biomechanical model. So you will see some of the portions of the pads would be used more often, and then the marks of the usage would be much deeper, and then you would see how the dog actually balances its pads, trying to do the balance and accommodate the body in order to fulfill this biomechanical model that not necessarily is present. And why it's not present? Because the breeding and the judging and all kind of understanding of the dog's body doesn't care about it, because we don't know about that. Okay, so let's get back to nails. So if the dog's nails are too long, okay, and they're too long, and now what's happening? Because the dog nails are now touching the surface where the dog is going, then the nail itself is pushing the pads backward. So this is a first moment, this would be the first moment when the usage of the back of the dog's feet, of the dog's pads actually, energy goes here. So instead of resting on the dog's body, the nails will push the energy backward. Okay? What happens when this goes backward and now you have kako kaže poluga?
Curve.
No curve. The klackalica.
Seesaw.
This one seesaw, right? So now you have an impact of the physical laws. If this one goes there, then the elbow will move a little forward, right? So it's not straight anymore. If the elbow moves forward, this is gonna move backward. So this one goes here. If this one goes there, this one goes here. So it's kind of like up, 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 up. So and what happens now here? The entire dog's body, so now we have problematic that now we have a kind of the problem that balance in between the ideal angle in majority of the breeds would be a 90-degree angle in between scapula and the humerus. That not necessarily mean that having the nails gonna create more angle in this, because this angle is controlled with much more structure than the nail can destroy. But what happens here is the energy use of these bones is changing. So when this changes here, then what happens on the other side? So now the energy, the dog is resting usually, not usually, it should be like that. The entire dog's body rests on front feet. So the dog's body uses the front feet to balance itself and to maintain its stability. So when the dog moves, what happens is the motion starts from the last leg. So the motion is initiated with the last leg, the back leg, like the back legs. The back leg pushes the body, front leg reacts, so the dog doesn't crashes on the nose. So when this happens to the back, this is how we lose the energy just with the nails. Tap, 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 tap. So it goes differently like that. On the other side, it goes as well. Tap, 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 tap. And again, so now we have energy spreads around instead of going it forward and touch it, now if we want to, try to go deeper in the biomechanical model of the dog, we would learn that actually entire energy of the dog's body tends to go with the inside, and that's how it's not lost. And only with the little nails, you have immediately the tendency of the energy to move out from the dog's body, that's not going to happen, because the dogs will still want to preserve all of that energy that it's just used for the dog's motion and the dog's resting, of course, and everything. But now with just these little things, the entire picture of the biomechanical model is lost. So, and what are the outcome of this? So, what happens here is that because all of this is kind of completely in this radiation of the mass, like the energy got radiated out from the dog's body, and now the dogs needs to balance itself, try to use a much more energy to perform, to move, to stand, and do all kind of other things in order to preserve itself. It's gonna make different choices. It's not a choice, it's like a adaptation of its muscular structure in order to support this loss. And what's gonna be the most important thing, how this is how this gets to be annulated, or how can I say? So in order to preserve now these two things, the energy go back from this one. So what's happened here? Usually with this, the dog tends to bring their neck back, pushing the energy backward, and this little thing actually from the other side tends to bring its energy up. So this is where these two things get together, like from the rump up and from the neck kind of like tries to stands a little higher, and the rump kind of it's impossible. It's just energy that flows out from there, creating a tremendous pressure on the how you call it, this patella part, and of course tremendous pressure on the hip itself. And you oftentimes will see that the dogs that experience some sort of pressure and pain and might even look like a dysplasia, once you cut their nails short, everything disappears. Everything disappears. So how all of this is merged into a single thing that starts with the nails is that if we would keep nails short, how short is appropriately short? Appropriately short is not hearing dog clicking while moving. So that's why the entire week I was talking about clicking movement. Like I love my dogs because I let them flow through my life as through the sky, and these silent sky walking things. So it's kind of very interesting to observe. But now we have another problem to deal with. Not a lot of dogs like to have their nails done. But oftentimes you will see that immediately when the nails cut short, the entire problems that they had, they don't want to touch, they don't want to let you touch their nails, not because of the quick, but because everything is in pain. Everything is in pain. And you know where the pain starts? With the feet. So it's kind of like chiropractor thing that needs to be performed here, but only properly and appropriately taking care about nails. Once the nails are cut appropriately short, and how short is depend on the size of the dog, of the breed, of the body itself, because oftentimes you will see that not necessarily the shortest nails would be needed for the particular dog, because some of them have the motion that they can they can function without clicking with a much longer nail than the other dogs. And how long the nail need to be, everything depends on the primary biomechanical model that is inherited in these little puppies in your dog through the responsible breeding according to the rules of the biomechanical model of the dog. Once achieved in the breeding program, first is very difficult to achieve if not purposefully bred to. So if you don't purposefully breed to a biomechanical model of the dog, its tense of the dog's body is not to maintain the biomechanical model of the dog. It's because the majority of the breeds that we, not majority, almost every single breed today have its, even the crossbreeds, whatever, because they are outcome of crossing, breeding the purebred dogs. But the majority of the purebred dogs of today, we have those forms of the dog's body, so they look like they are bred to do something. So that doing something, that purpose of them created a form of the dog's body that they have. So what's the body's purpose? Is to perform, to guard, to hunt, to herd, to do something. And by doing something in the past, doing something was slowly developing them in a form that we know them and we can recognize them today and say, okay, this is Doberman, this is Poodle, this is this, this is that. But every single dog has some purpose, some use. And it was not in the beginning, it was, now we are breeding according to the beauty, according to whatever we see fit standard interpretation. And that's how actually majority of the breeds are lost. Because we are not preserving their use anymore. The ancient breeders, or the beginning of the breeding programs of any breed, was let breed the dogs for the purpose. So this dog runs fast, let's say Saluki. This dog runs fast and this bitch runs fast. Let's breed them together and we expect that the puppy is gonna run faster. And then by breeding to the fast running dogs, we're gonna end up having long legs, tiny body, big nose, deep chest, big heart. Not vice versa. It was not like, oh, we need a deep chest, big heart, long legs, tiny bodies in order for them to run fast. No, it was, let's see, whatever we need, just breed the dogs that perform. So nowadays, we don't use dogs anymore. You can say, oh, I rat hunt, I do this. We don't use and we don't breed the dogs according to the use. We breed dogs according to champion titles, beauty, whoever, cuteness, emotional loveness to the dogs, and the biomechanical model is completely forgotten, taken care of, and things like that. So, if not purposefully bred to, biomechanical model of the dog is usually off. That kind of dogs, and why the biomechanical model is so important, is because it brings soundness to the dog's body, brings health to a dog's body. Because this health is outcome of dog's body don't need to produce a lot of energy that flows all over the place in order for dog to soundly live, move, and walk, or whatever the dogs do in today's life. And all of that can be impacted with such a small things that we can carry and nourish from day to day that we call nails. And back to the beginning of the story, to my first experience of how important shortness of the nails are. And when I asked my friend, the breeder, I said, like, how your dogs are so kind of like quiet when you do nails? Because he was almost doing, like, whenever the dog is on the table, like, he would grind the nails and then cut them short and maintain them, like nothing was bleeding, because they were already so short. And he said, I'm doing that since their puppyhood, and I'm doing that on a weekly basis. And the dogs, like nothing, like a dog's, it would, for the dog there, I witnessed, for the dogs would be the same as, you are bathing the dog and they would sleep, and you would wash and dry them, they would sleep, and then on the end or on the beginning, he would just use a Dremel and nicely cut the dog's short nose. And that's not something that a groomer can perform, because it's still something that the doggy moms and every single owner should be able to perform. And you need to develop such a routine towards...
That was one of the questions on YouTube. What if the quicks are too long?
Yeah, what is you just start cutting the nails until you can. And if you cut every single week millimeter until the quick, the quick gonna start pulling back. And if you keep doing it every week, you don't need to hurt the quick. One way, whenever the good thing would be, for example, to start, let's say you are taking your dog to do some, I don't know, how can I say, teeth cleaning or something like that. Something that requires anesthesia or something like that. So not like a big procedure, not to take the dog to the vet. But once you take the dog to the vet and put him to undergo some whatever procedure, and they are under the anesthesia, you can ask veterinarian to cut the nails quick, and then take care about the quick by using some quick stop that can kind of like prevent the quick from growing after that, because there is some counter, it's so-called thing that we use actually in there is some little thing electronic thing that is used in order to stop bleeding of the vessels while you operate, right? The same thing can be used to stop bleeding the quick, but it's kind of like you experience and undergo the real operation. So you don't do that in everyday setting. But as a doggy owner, what you can do, but once the dog is under anesthesia, you can perform this. And then the quick doesn't have a tendency to grow because it will stop there. But that's you can do only if in the settings for any surgery. So don't do that without that. But don't forget that if you need to go to the vet for whatever reason, for the dog to undergo any procedure, just let them ask them to cut the nails short so you can just maintain them after that. If not, if of course you don't go to the vet in order to undergo any surgery. I'm just telling this because oftentimes the people would just have dogs do something and they would go out from the anesthesia and they wouldn't do the nails. Don't forget to tell them, but don't cut the nails only just short. Just make them appropriate to your dog's size and length, and then listen how beautiful it will be when they move. And if you want to perform it from home, you just start literally millimeter every week or millimeter every day. Just, cut a little one nail and give a treat to your dog. Cut tomorrow second nail, just a millimeter of it, just the tip of and give your dog. Use a Dremel and Dremel the nail every week. And the quick gonna slowly start backing up. The moment you touch, and no matter do you have a nail with the black nail or the white nail or whatever to see the quick, don't see the quick. If you do the Dremel, and just, Dremel a little bit. The dog likes very much to be Dremel, especially our dog likes Dremel, and every single dog I see that developed a routine towards the Dremel with the treats, that's very easy. They just even like it, it would be like pedicure, please, because I want a treat after that. And then slowly just make them round, and the quick gonna slowly back up, and slowly you're gonna have a developed posture, first developed nail to support the posture and to maybe even get rid of the chronic pain that your dog might have, and that you undergo all kind of problems that arise from this just because there was not attention to such a small portion. The dogs might also experience all kind of the anxiety due to the chronic pain that they are into because of long nails. Every single step with a nail that clicks on the floor is painful. And when that pain is a chronic pain, in motion or in standing up, in running, the dog's gonna be going through, not only loss of energy and then trying to pull it together, pick up the neck, and then, force the pressure on the hips and on the patellas. The idea would be that you kind of like, the dogs might even learn to live with this pain, but the outcome of that might be anxiety.
I have tried that every week, but he fights me.
Yeah, then you need to step back. First, you need to develop
With treats.
Yeah, first you need to leave the dog, leave the pet, leave the anything regarding pets away. Što je ovo ovdje ovako žuto?
That's fine.
Okay, so don't do anything regarding pets. What you need to do is start incorporating doggy mom procedures or doggy dad's procedures. I don't know who is asking. Doggy Parent Academy. Procedures is a communication method in which you develop a positive attachment. So the dog that doesn't have a secure attachment to their owners, they don't trust owners. And they will fight everything that they can. They might don't trust owners because the relationship you have doesn't provide your dog security next to you. So don't try to push or develop any connection regarding, dremeling the dogs or grooming the dog's nails until you do not develop a secured attachment towards your dog, or actually dogs develop secure attachment towards you. When the dog trusts you, then the dog follows. When the dog follows, they follow everything and everywhere, including nail trimmings. So the nail trimming procedure and the dog trusting you enough to let you cut his nails and even develop a positive enforcement towards the nails, towards treats, is rewiring the brain of the dog, but not towards treat, not towards nail trimming, but towards yourself. So when we are in a setting of the group environment, and now we are back to square one. Why my dog doesn't trust me? Start picking the bowl, eating through the rituals, get back. It's like now we need to get to the another videos where I was talking about how to develop a secure attachment with your dog. You cannot force this on your dog if your dog doesn't trust you enough to let you do it. So, and then how do you develop this routine with the dogs? Stop doing it first, and then focus on developing a secure attachment, rewiring the brain on your dog through the rituals of feeding, communication ritual, feeding, uniting, departing, playtime, and walking. Because through those 4 rituals, you're going to be able to develop a secure attachment. The dog's going to relax next to you, but not only that, he's going to let you do his nails. He won't pull on a leash, he won't jump on the people, he'll stop barking, excessive barking, he maybe stop some separation anxiety or whatever, because it's not only that the dog doesn't let you touch his nails, is an outcome of the much more significant behavioral problems that you might don't even assign it to a problem, because maybe just cute. Maybe it's cute to me that my dog just follows me all over the place. It's maybe cute to me that dogs jumps to everyone to say hi. Maybe it's cute to me that dogs pulls me to the park because the dog likes to go to the park and play with the dogs. All of those are signs of anxiety. Misbehavior, because the dog tries to communicate with us. Take over. I cannot deal with this. I'm not a leader. I cannot survive in this environment as a leader. I need to be led. I need to be led. And that's something that we're gonna go, and I'm gonna, in time to come, I don't know when, but let's say a couple of weeks from now, we're gonna have a challenge, like a doggy parent challenge, that we're gonna, through the 5 or 4 days, we're gonna go through the deep dive in to understand, like, who is a dog. It will be this month, like in February, right? So, who is a dog? Who is a dog? When we do understand who is a dog, we're going to have a better perception about the communication with the dog, about interaction with the dog, about the nutrition of the dog, and about appropriate care of the dog. So all of this, what I'm talking now, is like high-end understanding of the care needed for the dog. But prerequisite of all of that, for you to be able to fulfill all of that, is that your dog trusts you enough to let you do it. The dog doesn't trust that rewire and create a positive connection in between a nail trimming and food is okay. But the prerequisite for that to happen is that your dog trusts you. And because at the moment when we touches their nails and they resist that, and we try with the feed, it's too late to develop a connection, because now the dog's brain is already in a panic mode. And you cannot deal with a panicky brain because the panicky brain is foggy and it's already undertaken by the hormones and everything is just burning within, and you are not able, the dog wouldn't be able to, the dog is then very reactive. The dog is not reactive. The dog is not responsive. The dog is reactive. And how we going to make a dog respond if the dog will have a, how you say, step back mode, okay? So this is a situation. I step back. I look at in you, like an owner. I look at the owner and I look, where do you want me to go? And then that's from the perspective of the dog. When I trust my owner, I will always stay, look where the owner is, see and follow. That's a respond. If I react, it's already again a brain, because the dogs do have a prefrontal cortex, a frontal lobe of the brain that is very small compared to ours. Let's say ours prefrontal cortex is around 12% of the brain. So that's a part of the brain where all decisions are made, right? The dog has barely, the scientific studies are like vague, but they're not too much off. It's kind of like in between 3 to 5% of the entire dog's brain is in a prefrontal cortex. But if we give them enough time, space, and security, we can force them to make a decision without forcing them to behave just because we want to them to behave. And then we kind of like, develop this circus way. If you behave, I'm going to give you a treat, or if you don't behave, I'm going to punish you. So they behave because they are actually driven by the award or by the fear. No, in the Doggy Parent Academy, what we developed is a harmonious relationship with the dog. If you provide the circumstances in which the dogs can willingly choose and provide you with the accepted and appropriate behavior as an outcome of their will and choice, they would do everything for you. Without being forced, we create an environment in which the dog choose to do what we want. But that's ask from us significant traits to develop. So we are in a present moment developing with our behavior, developing the circumstances in which the dog follows us. But that's an amazing trait to have, because it will radiate through the other spectrum of your life, because you cannot become a leader to your dog and then remain in a bad relationship, in a bad business, in a bad job, with a bad friendship and things like that. So it's maybe much easier to focus yourself on the dog, to develop yourself as an inspirational leader, not a bully, but inspirational leader that the dog will follow willingly. But then suddenly you turn around yourself, and then all the friends that were not real friends just disappeared from your life. Somehow you get the courage to go out from the toxic relationship. Somehow you get the courage and idea to start a new venture in a business. And without actually focusing on those areas of your life, what you was focusing on developing a great relationship with your dog, and then you develop yourself in the different person that the dogs actually feel, because we are in a connection with our dogs on much deeper level than what I told to my dog to do, and I can't do this, and I didn't teach him that, and I don't know how to do this. He doesn't let me do his nails and things like that. That means just that doesn't trust us.
Oh gosh, I never had this problem with my Newfoundlands back in 1998, but now with this smaller type I do, Donna from YouTube.
Oh, I never had with the new fizz, and now you have with the smaller dogs. Again, like I must draw your attention to the probably observe your life as well. Which kind of life you lived when you had a Newfoundland, and what kind of relationship you had with yourself, and what kind of relationship you had with your dogs. And on other side, you understand and see which kind of position and life in moment of life you are now, or at the moment when you attracted the dog that doesn't trust you at this point. So there is a significant way of developing the secure attachment with the dogs, and that comes through this triangle of amygdala, hypothalamus, and prefrontal cortex. That's triangle is something that we're gonna talk on a challenge, because the dogs are forever wolf puppies, and we call them that's what made them dogs. That's what made them be so adaptable to all circumstances. No matter what the dog lived through, and you take him out from the shelter or from the street or from wherever, and then you put him in your environment, and if your relationship with the dog is on a level of the dog understanding world, so that you see and you, for example, you just implement, that's a higher level of understanding of dog's life, and appreciating the dog life is to communicate with your dogs through the rituals. And the dogs overnight almost forget everything what was a past relationship. How did they ended up on a street or in a shelter or whatever life they had before they met you? Because they have such a great and high level of neuroplasticity. That's characteristic for the infants, for the babies. So that's why the children adapt to everything that they're exposed to because of their neuroplasticity. And that changes in the mankind. Changes with every single animal in the world, doesn't change with the dogs. Because dogs are forever wolf puppies. And wolf puppies, no matter how old they are, 5, 7, 16, 5, they're wolf puppies. And they always will need parents that they traded, the wolf parents for the human parents. And they'll do whenever we are ready to change. We're gonna be ready to inspire dogs to follow our lead. And when I was talking about the Pure Love and Harmony formula, don't forget, is this visible here? Yeah. So when we talk about the Pure Love and Harmony formula, it goes communication with the dogs, plus nutrition, plus coat care, times X equals longevity and well-being of the dog. So communication, nutrition, coat care. But what is X? X is I, X is you, X is he, X is they, X is everyone around. So X is the owner, X is the environment in which dog lives. So all of this is impacted with the X, but you see the X doesn't come like a plus, it's a times X. So that's because of the X. For some dogs can eat raw, the other ones can. Some dogs can be vegetarian, the other ones can. Some dogs are aggressive, the other ones are not, because of the X. And then when we work on X and we understand the X, then we can really care about our dogs from the standpoint of Pure Love and Harmony formula, providing them with the longevity and well-being. But at this point, I'm assuring you that whoever was asking this question about Donna was asking question, I'm sure that the Donna next to a Newfoundland and the Donna next to a Bichon, it's not in the same person. So now, by focusing on the dogs, because of the life circumstances, life takes us through the experience, life shapes us in who we are today, experience and everything that we experience through the life is molding us in who we are today, and the dogs are impacted with that. So how do we change that? Is through focusing and following X time communication. Everything starts here. Because the communication, if the communication is wrong, then my adrenaline, the adrenal hormones and the cortisol hormones are high. no matter what I eat, I won't be able to use it. So the communication gonna affect nutrition, and the nutrition gonna affect my coat care, because which kind of coat I gonna have if my nutrients are not used, and nutrients are not used because of the communication is missing. And how the communication is missing? Because the X doesn't understand who am I, so the X doesn't communicate with me properly, and then entire formula collapses, and then there is no actually, best because this is always equal. So whatever outcome of longevity and the dog well-being is, it can be also, this can be some illness, or it can be some whatever, like problem. So behavior problem, or nutrition problem, or the coat problem. So whatever we are experiencing behind this equals, the solution is first to be looked at who I am, and how do I communicate with my dog, and how do I care for my dog in a nutrition way, and how do I care for my dog's coat care, or actually general care. Because this, the nail trimming is a part of the coat care, that's part of the hygiene and the care, but also affected by the nutrition and affected by the communication. But the mostly affected by me, by X. So I hope this was an inspirational one, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm on this really amazing project that we are doing now in this, developing this doggy mom motion and movement across the globe. That's actually becoming a wave of the people wanting to know more, because everyone in the dogs community talks about training and communication one way or the other. The people are talking about the nutrition one way or the other. The people are talking about the coat care one way or the other. So everyone is talking about the segments of the coat care, or the care for the dog's well-being and overall, how can I say, overall well-being. Yes, let's say like that. But there is none that's actually focusing on how do I impact dog life. And then this is something that, knowledge and this amazing experience that I was blessed to gain through my life and going through my old troubles in a life. The family constellation portion of my knowledge and my schooling and my background is so unique, that brings this emotional component of the human-dog interaction in effect of whatever problem or whatever great or not great we are dealing with as an outcome of this formula. So follow us for more. This month, we're gonna have a challenge, like a free challenge that you will be able to join. It's gonna last like 5 or 7 days. I don't know yet, because we are still building it. But it's gonna focus. Focusing on very interesting topics that we need to lay the foundation of understanding our canine babies, because we are the parents by the God's will. We are the human parents to our canine babies. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't twist this other way around. It is my furry baby. It is my canine baby. And I am the parent, the human parent to another species. But it's not another human being. That's the most important thing. And then if it's not another human being, then I need to understand the needs of my baby. So what is here, what is here, what is here, what is here, and what is here? Like we have that Maslow's pyramid for the humans. Like we're gonna dive into a dog's need, like my doggy baby needs. So I will be able to understand how do I impact this hierarchy and provide my dog for the possibility of living long-lasting life in pure love and harmony. So I hope you enjoyed today. See you next Thursday about another amazing topic. It's about the pet's care, and we're gonna talk about this all kind of ways how to treat pets properly and how to care pets properly, because now we learned that the health of the pets is of the most important when dealing with the overall possibility to extract the maximum out from the biomechanical model of the dog, or losing whatever we do have, either good or bad, because the pet's health shouldn't be compromised. And today, in today's world, we see a lot of products appear on the market, like a lot of misinformations are on the market. People want to buy some things, and then the other companies are just fulfilling those needs and putting a product in front of them. And down the road, the products of all kind are hurting the dog's posture, hurting the dog's feet, ruining the biomechanical model that's so difficult to achieve, and more even difficult to preserve in the modern days perception of the dog's needs. So with that said, I'm sending you a lot of loves, hugs, and kisses. Until next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and until